I have 20 bucks to spend at the thrift store, and I'm challenging myself to find 3 different home decor items within our $20 budget. I'm going to bring them home and transform them into some high-end home decor. Do you think I can do it? Let's head to the thrift store and find out. This thrift store is one of my favorites. They have so many treasures. I love scouring the aisles to find hidden gems I can reimagine into home decor. The first item that caught my eye was a picnic basket. It had a great shape to it. The weave design on it was fantastic. The hinge flap lid was a fun and unique detail. The size was also great. And there was almost no damage to this basket besides the fact that it was pretty dirty on the inside and there were some crayon marks that were on the handle, but besides that it was in tip-top shape. And check it out, the price was only $7.99, which is well within our $20 budget, so I thought it would be a fantastic item to transform. Now firstly, we need to wash this thing. It is so dirty. Inside had remnants of picnics from the past. So all I needed to do was wipe it down with a damp, soapy cloth, and it was as good as new. As for the crayon on the handle, I thought I would see if a magic eraser would get rid of it. So I took my damp magic eraser and rubbed that crayon away. It took about a minute of scrubbing, but that crayon completely disappeared. This picnic basket is a complete blank slate, which I love. So I have a few ideas. So we need to head on over to Hobby Lobby and check out their fabric section. I found 2 bolts of matching fabric. The first is a floral design. It has some beautiful shades of pink and green. And the second is a pink gingham fabric that coordinates so well with the pinks on our floral fabric. I purchased a yard of each. I'm going to completely revamp the hinged lid of this picnic basket with our floral fabric. So I draped the fabric over the top of the picnic basket. Then I took a pencil and drew a line right on the edge of the lid. This technique is a fantastic way to get the exact size I need because I can run the lead point of the pencil right along the rim of the picnic basket. So I did this around the entire perimeter of the lid. Then I got my fabric scissors and I cut out this rectangular shape. I'm going to drape it back over the lid and you can see that it is a perfect fit. I do need to cut it into 2 separate pieces because if I had one flat piece over the top, when you went to lift up the lid, it would crease and it would pull, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to cut it in half. I drew a line with a pencil down the crease. Then I got my self-healing mat out and a rotary cutter as well as a ruler. I'm going to run my rotary cutter right along the line so that I can get 2 pieces that now will fit perfectly on either side of the lid. There's also 2 hinges that we need to cut out and make space for. So I just did the same thing. I got my pencil back out and I ran it along the rim of the hinge, and then I'm going to cut it out. You can see that it is a perfect fit. Once I was done with the first side, I did the exact same thing on the smaller section. I traced along the hinge, cut out the shape, and now it fits perfectly on the lid. We are going to be attaching the fabric to the lid of the picnic basket with one of my new favorite products. I love this dishwasher safe Mod Podge. So this is what we're going to use. This is going to be fantastic because I can guarantee you that this fabric is going to get dirty, it's going to get spilled on, and it's going to probably get some dirt on it because picnics typically take place outside. So this is going to be fabulous. I got my Mod Podge and a sponge brush, and I added a liberal amount of Mod Podge to the lid. Once it had been sufficiently coated in the Mod Podge, I took my fabric and I carefully placed it over the top of the lid. I positioned it in such a way that the hinges were exposed and the fabric went all the way to the edge. Once the first section of fabric was in place, I moved on. Again, I painted on the Mod Podge all over the top Once the surface was covered in the Mod Podge, I took the second half of the fabric, placed it over the top of the Mod Podge, smoothed it out. You want to make sure that there are no air bubbles trapped underneath, that way it will lay flat. And now both pieces of fabric fit perfectly over the lid. Now we can move directly on to painting the Mod Podge over the top of the fabric. I painted on a decent amount of Mod Podge over the top. You want to make sure that the surface is completely covered in the Mod Podge. You don't want any fabric exposed or uncovered, especially because we're going to be washing it in the future. Once both sides of the lid had been covered in the Mod Podge, I let it dry for 3 hours. We are going to now add our pink and white gingham fabric to the inside of the basket. Now you can see right now that the original red and white gingham fabric is stapled to the picnic basket. There is no possible way that we're going to be able to pull that out. And in fact, it's not such a bad thing, because if inevitably there are spills inside the picnic basket, because the original liner is vinyl, we'll be able to clean it up really easily. But what we're going to do is take this gingham fabric and I'm going to cut it to size. I'm cutting out a rectangle that's 2 sizes larger than the basket itself. So I placed the basket over the fabric and I just eyeballed the shape that I thought was best. There's no rhyme or reason why I chose that size. I just thought it would work best because it's going to be placed inside the basket. We want to make sure that we have enough fabric. Too much is okay, and not enough will give us a headache in the future. I'm going to attach my gingham fabric to the inside of the basket with some gold thumbtacks. I purchased these at the Dollar Tree, and they're going to work like magic. So what I did was I took my fabric, I placed it inside of the basket, then I folded the edges over so that we had a finished edge. I took my gold thumbtack and I pressed it into the wood basket. Because the tacks are shallow, it's not going to poke through the picnic basket to the other side. What it's going to do is hold the fabric in place, and it's also semi-permanent, so if I want to later on, I can pull the fabric out and wash it or change it for a different fabric. I'm placing the thumbtacks about 2 inches apart from each other. I place these tacks all the way around the edge of the basket. There is some bunching at the bottom, but that doesn't bother me. It adds to the whimsy of the picnic basket. If you wanted a perfect fit, you could sew a rectangular fabric insert, and that would work as well. Now we have our pretty floral fabric Mod Podge to the lid and our gingham fabric on the inside. I think we need one more detail, so I'm going to actually combine these 2 fabrics. I laid my gingham fabric over the top of my floral fabric, and then I cut out a 2.5 to 3 inch wide strip of fabric, and the length was the entire yard long. I'm going to flip the fabric over so that both of the finished sides are facing each other. Then I'm going to get some hot glue. I hot glued the ends together, and then I'm going to add a line of hot glue down the sides. I pressed the fabric together. I continued to add a line of hot glue on each of the sides of our fabric strip, and then I pressed it together. I went all the way down the entire yard of fabric. Once I got to the end, I left it open. Now I can flip the fabric right side out so that the finished sides of both of my fabric designs are facing outward. Once I was finished flipping it, I can now fold the ends and then hot glue them together. Now I have a beautiful double-sided strip of fabric that I can tie around the handles of my picnic basket. And now we are finished with our adorable picnic basket. You guys, this is so cute. This picnic basket is going to be the talk of any summer picnic. I love this floral fabric that we Mod Podge to the top. The gorgeous floral fabric with the pinks and greens is perfect for this time of year. It looks so classy. And then of course we've got our gingham fabric inside. It's such a fun color contrast, but also design contrast. We go from this gorgeous floral to this pretty checked gingham fabric on the inside. And then our double-sided bow is such a fun touch. It definitely ties everything together. I think that our $7.99 thrift store find now looks like a high-end picnic basket from a designer store. While I was at Hobby Lobby, I saw that all the paper plates and napkins were 50% off, so I picked up these cute little pink plates and some gorgeous leaf napkins. I love the green tone on that. This pink is going to coordinate beautifully with all the pink tones that we have on our fabric. I love using disposable dishes when I go on a picnic. That way it just takes out all the guesswork of trying to do dishes afterwards. But I like to make sure that they are gorgeous and coordinate beautifully with our picnic theme. I'm going to tuck these right inside of our picnic basket. It didn't cost much to purchase these disposable pieces, but it will definitely elevate our picnic into a magical affair. I recently decided that it's time that I leveled up my home security game, and we are going to do it with these two amazing products by Tapo. I'm excited to share how these affordable, easy to use products have been a total game changer for my family's peace of mind. And the best part is that you can buy them for the everyday low price at Walmart. So let's dive in and check out these amazing products. The first thing that I have is a battery-powered video doorbell. So let's install the video doorbell first. This was so easy to do. It's battery-powered, so no messy wires. And you guys, look at what I had as a doorbell. It's like a dinosaur. It is far time that we swapped this thing out. We definitely need an upgrade. It took me less than 10 minutes to make this change. The instructions come in the box, but you also can do it step by step by downloading the app. Just connect it to Wi-Fi and boom, you're ready. Now I can see and talk to anyone at my door from my phone, whether I'm home or not. It's like having my own personal security guard. I can have a conversation with somebody out at my front door. I can ask why they're here, what they need. It makes me feel so safe and secure. Next up, let's move to the indoor-outdoor security camera. You can use it indoors to keep your eyes on your kids or your pets. I'm using mine outside. That way I can monitor my yard and people coming and going. It's weatherproof. It has crystal clear video. It even works at night with night vision. The setup is just as easy as the doorbell. All you need to do is plug it in or use the battery, sync it to the app, and you're good to go. All I did was attach it to the outside of my home. It comes with all the equipment you need to install. Once the battery was charged, all I needed to do was sync it to the app and I'm good to go. This app lets me check live feeds, get motion alerts, and even save clips if something or someone catches my eye. Knowing that I can monitor my home 24/7 from anywhere gives me so much peace of mind. And the fact that I didn't need to hire anyone or break the bank to do it, that's a win in my book. And of course, not only are these products amazing, but being able to purchase them at Walmart for a very affordable price is just icing on the cake. So take control of your security today with Tapo's latest home security products. Click the link in my description box so you can head on over and check out these products for yourself and select one that's going to work best for you and your family's home security. Trust me, you will love it. The next item that I found at the thrift store was actually hiding on the bottom shelf. So I had to do a little digging to find this one. It is this white lantern with some gorgeous scroll detail on it. This size was fantastic. I love the topper, the handle, and the metal detail on the inside of the glass. It has so much potential. The price was only $6.99, so not only is that fantastic, but it's definitely going to fit in with our $20 challenge budget. Now, there are a few drawbacks to this lantern. Number one, it's filthy. Like, this thing is so dirty. It's filled with some dusty, yucky branches and a candle. there's a feather in there, and there's a whole bunch of random things at the bottom. And the hinge is actually missing one of the screws. So we're gonna have to do something about that as well. We definitely have a few challenges with this lantern. The first thing we need to do is obviously just remove all of those items from the inside. So I pulled everything out. So I actually got my hand vacuum and vacuumed everything out. And then I gave it a good washing with a hot soapy rag. I really want to repaint this lantern. It's just scuffed up and it's pretty tired. It definitely needs to be painted. The problem with this is the glass is actually glued to the lantern itself, so there's no way I can actually pull out the glass. So what I'm gonna do instead is get some copy paper and some blue painter's tape. Now the copy paper actually slid right underneath all of that metal detail, so I was able to cover up the glass. Once I was finished adding the copy paper to the outside of the lantern, I added copy paper to the inside because we are definitely going to be painting the inside as well. Did you see the bottom of that lantern? Yeah, we cannot keep it like that. So that's going to be painted. And then the last thing I need to do is remove the hinge. It's falling off anyway, so we're just going to unscrew the screws, take off both pieces, that way we can paint behind it and paint the hinges themselves. Now that the glass is covered, we are going to take it outside and we're going to paint it in this bare white gloss spray paint. I just blasted this entire lantern with this spray paint. I want to make sure it's 100% covered in the paint. I got the top and the sides, and once the outside of the lantern was completely coated in the spray paint, I painted the inside as well. The bottom was stained and was in great need of a fresh coat of paint. Once the inside and the outside were covered in the spray paint, I let it dry for 1 hour. I am also going to be painting the hinges and the screws. This time we're going to be using some metallic gold gloss spray paint. This is also from Behr. I laid them out, and I actually did find another mini screw in my stash, so I have 4 screws. I painted the 2 pieces of hinge and the screws. Once they were all covered in the gold spray paint, I let them dry for 1 hour. Just like our picnic basket, this lantern is a complete blank slate. So we are actually going to be adding some detail to the top. We're going to do it with some scrapbook paper. I have a book of scrapbook paper that's filled with all kinds of floral paper. I purchased this at Michael's. I selected a pink and gold floral paper. I'm loving the pink flowers today, so this is going to fit in perfectly with the color scheme that we're going for. Now what I'm going to do is cut out several of these flowers so I have individual flowers and leaves. I cut out about 6 to 8 individual pieces that I can place on my lantern. I cut out different sizes and shapes that are going to fit right on the top of the lantern. I'm going to be attaching this scrapbook paper to the top of my lantern with plain Mod Podge. We used the washable Mod Podge earlier, but we're just gonna stick with the plain Mod Podge right now. So I got my sponge brush and I painted on a liberal amount of the Mod Podge to the top of the lantern. Then I took a scrapbook flower and placed it in the Mod Podge. I want my flower to meander up and down the entire middle portion of the topper, so I creased the paper, that way it would stay in place. Once I was finished adding my first flower, I repeated this process around the entire perimeter of the topper. I'm adding a lot of scrapbook flowers in various places. I want them to go up and down the entire height of the lantern topper. Now that all of my scrapbook flowers are in place, I'm going to paint on a top layer of Mod Podge. So I simply just added a liberal amount of Mod Podge over the top of all of our beautiful paper flowers. I made sure that they were completely covered in the Mod Podge. I'm adding a liberal amount because we want our flowers to stay in place. And the Mod Podge will not only do that, but it gives the flowers a hand-painted look that enhances the vintage lantern theme. Once I painted the top layer of Mod Podge over all the scrapbook flowers, I let it dry for 2 hours. While we're waiting for the Mod Podge to dry, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna see if that candle works. And guess what, you guys? It totally does. There were batteries in it and it came right on. I was so surprised. I thought it was a goner. So this candle is a bonus that came with this lantern. Now it's pretty plain, and of course we want to embellish it so that it coordinates beautifully with our lantern. What we're going to do is get some vellum paper. I purchased this a little while ago at Hobby Lobby and it was only 99 cents. So what I'm going to do is wrap this vellum paper around the candle. That way I get the perfect size. Then I cut it out. You can see that the top of the candle is wavy. So we want to make sure that our paper follows that wavy shape. I took my pencil and I traced out that wavy shape and then I cut it out. And now this paper fits right around our candle. The way I'm going to be attaching this vellum paper to our candle is by melting the paper into the wax that's on the candle. So I need a heat source. What I'm going to use is my mini Cricut Easy Press, but you can use an iron, just heat it up to a medium setting. Now what I'm going to do is wrap this paper back around the candle, and then I'm going to take my Easy Press and rub it up and down the surface of the paper. You don't want to stay in one place too long or else you'll get a divot in the wax. What the heat is doing is melting the wax and the paper is being absorbed into the wax. I kept my Easy Press moving up and down in a steady motion around the entire perimeter of the candle. You can see the wax melting as you do this, and the paper is immediately adhered to the candle. I actually did this technique during Christmas time, and I did it with a paper napkin. Now, if you're going to use napkins, you want to make sure that you wrap it in parchment paper. That way the napkin doesn't burn. But because this paper is vellum, I didn't need to worry about adding the parchment paper around it. You guys, look at how fantastic this looks. Check that out. I love this technique. You can create as many candles as you want in any different design and color scheme. Creating a custom candle was never so easy. I'm so happy with the way that our freebie candle turned out. This was definitely a bonus I was not expecting. So we're actually going to be getting 4 projects today for under $20, or so we hope. If you like room transformations, home decor dupes, thrift flips like this, even Dollar Tree DIYs, then you have come to the right place. I post new weekly videos, so make sure you subscribe so you can join in on all the decorating fun. Let's turn our attention back to the lantern now. We've got a few more things that we need to do. One is to remove the paper from the glass. So I just peeled that paper and the blue painter's tape away from the inside and the outside of our lantern. And now we need to replace the hinge. So I just screwed the hinges, both parts, back onto the lantern. Now I can take my candle and place it inside of our lantern. I'm going to actually be adding a few flowers around the candle because we're going with the pink floral theme. I got some pink flowers and I just tucked those around the candle. At the top of our lantern, what I'm going to do is get a pink ribbon with some pretty little hot glue hearts on either end. If this ribbon looks familiar, yes, we did use it for all of the wedding festivities a couple months ago. I thought it was so pretty, and who doesn't love hearts? So I just wrapped this around the topper and tied it into a bow. Then I took a few extra florals and I tucked the stems right inside of the opening at the top of the lantern. This is a great way for our flowers to stay in place. The last little detail I added was a green leaf. This gives our lantern a pop of color and is a nice addition to our gorgeous florals. We are completely finished with our gorgeous thrifted lantern. Doesn't this look amazing? First up, let's talk about the color transformation. This white is so fresh and clean and is 10 times better than the paint job that it had before. It really just brings out all the detail on all the iron work. Our topper with these beautiful Mod Podge flowers is just the extra detail that this lantern needed. The candle inside is flickering so beautifully in its new coat of vellum flowers, and I just think that the pink flowers that are on the inside and our topper add that touch of summertime, as well as this pretty pink satin ribbon and our leaf. And then let's talk about our freebie candle inside. I love a freebie, and we definitely transformed that to look so high-end. And the gold flowers tie in with the gold hinge and the gold on our ribbon, as well as the gold on the scrapbook paper flowers. The pink flowers on the inside and the pink flowers on the topper just enhance the overall fresh feeling of this special time of year. We were able to take a lantern that was just a few dollars and turn it into a high-end couture piece of home decor. I found our next thrifted piece just one shelf above our lantern. It's this large rectangular glass container. The size of this glass vase or container, whatever you want to call it, is quite substantial. It is a fabulous shape and it was a great price. I'm not going to tell you how much it was. I'm going to make you sit in suspense while we transform it, because is it going to fit into our $20 budget? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What we're going to do with this container, first of all, is wash it. It is actually really dirty. And that's really all we needed to do to make this container shine. Now, because flowers is the name of the game today, we're going to stick with that theme. And I'm going to create a flower on my Cricut design space, and then I'm going to have my Cricut Maker cut it out on some white removable vinyl. Once my designs were cut out, I weeded away the excess vinyl from around the design. Then I took some transfer tape, I placed it over the top, and then I cut out my flowers individually. I have 4 flowers because I have 4 sides to my container. Then I removed the backing from the vinyl design and placed my flower in the center of one side of the rectangle. I pressed it firmly to the glass, and then I peeled away the transfer tape. I repeated this process on all 4 sides of my rectangular container. I pressed the vinyl to the glass and then removed the transfer tape. Now, if you wanted to leave your container just like this with the vinyl flowers on it, you completely could. It looks so pretty, but we don't want to do that. When I was at Hobby Lobby, I found this frosted glass finish, and I thought, how pretty would that be if we frosted the glass around the flower and then removed the flower. So that's what we're going to do. I took my container outside and I sprayed it in this frosted glass finish. I made sure that the glass was completely covered in this. Once all 4 sides of my container had been coated in the frosted glass finish, I let it dry for 20 minutes. You don't need to wait very long at all for this to dry. In fact, after like 10 or 15 minutes, you can paint on an additional coat, dependent on how frosted you want your glass to look. I was okay with like a medium frosted finish, but if you wanted a heavy finish, then now's the time to paint on or spray on another coat. Now that it's dry, I can remove the vinyl from my container. It peeled away easily because I used removable vinyl. This is my favorite part. It's the big reveal. You can see the design. I think it looks so fabulous. It's a little hard to see, and that's what makes this design so unique. I continue to remove the vinyl on all 4 sides of my container. And just like that, we have created a one-of-a-kind, unique container with 2 things. We've got our vinyl decal and we've got our frosted glass finish. Now, if you do not have a Cricut cutter, you could swap out the vinyl for either a sticker or a stencil. Those would work just as well. Now that our container has been beautified, we are going to add some flowers to it. I got a whole bunch of pink flowers in a variety of different shades and sizes. I am going to create a tape grid over the top. So I got some Scotch tape and I ran 2 lines of tape horizontally and 2 lines of tape vertically. Then I took my flowers and I placed them in the tape grid. Now typically I will bend the stem, but because our container is so large, we can just place the flowers in as is. I wanted this arrangement to look substantial, so I placed a lot of flowers inside of my container. You can see that the flowers are cascading over the sides. And once again, these flowers are perfect for this time of year and fit in with my theme of the day beautifully. And now we are completely finished. Look at how huge this flower arrangement is. You can see the size when it's like up next to me, how large it actually is. Look at how beautiful this container is. That flower is the most beautiful detail on here. I think it is just a show-stopping design. I love the frosted glass. It actually hides the stems of the flowers. We don't necessarily want to see them, so the frosted glass does that for us. All of the flowers inside are beautiful. I love the variety of different shapes and sizes and types of flowers, as well as the green leaves and stems. I have never seen anything like this arrangement before. This thrifted container came a long way from when we found it at the thrift store. If you're looking for an affordable yet substantial piece of home decor, definitely check out your thrift store. Now, did I stay within my $20 budget? Well, let me tell you, this container was $5.99. So did we stay within that $20 budget? Let's add it up. No, we didn't. We're 97 cents over, but you guys, that's okay. It's just 97 cents. So we're gonna say that, yes, we stayed within the $20 budget with an asterisk next to it, but that's okay. I will definitely spend that extra 97 cents to get these beautiful home decor pieces. The thrift store is going to be a great place to go and look for decor that you can transform if you are on a tight budget. And even if you're not on a tight budget, the thrift store has some fabulous one-of-a-kind pieces that you will not be able to find anywhere else. And each of the pieces that we did today were substantial pieces. They weren't teeny little knickknacks. We have a huge picnic basket. We've got a gorgeous lantern, and our flower arrangement, you saw how big that flower arrangement was. You can pick up some thrift store finds that will be a focal point to any room. If you've got 20 bucks, you'll be able to make your dollar stretch by shopping at the thrift store. I think we proved today that you can live beautifully, you can do it with one-of-a-kind unique pieces, and you can do it on a budget. I've got so many fantastic projects coming up. Of course, we've got some more DIY home decor, but I've got some room transformations in the works. I think you are going to absolutely love them, so make sure you're subscribed so you can join in on all the decorating fun. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.